Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, the Crypt Keeper. And you're listening to Three Guys in a Flick. The good, the bad, and the gruesomely absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
I need you, Jesse. We've got work here to do, you and me. You've got the body. I've got the brain.
Three guys and a flick with Duncan and John. Dive into the movies well after the dawn. From the good to the bad to the wildly absurd. They give a fuck about films. Their voices are heard.
Welcome back. You are listening to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from 1428 Elm Street, my name is Don. Wait, guys, haven't we been here before?
It does feel eerily similar.
Yeah, deja vu.
Fuckers didn't even take the bars off the windows yet. Look at that. Crazy. And to my right, we have the comic book guy. This is John.
Cardio.
And to my left, we have the professor, Ken.
Hello, everybody.
How you guys doing tonight?
Feeling a little creepy, a little scary.
Yeah? Yeah, what about you there, bud?
I'm excited that we're getting one step closer to my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah. Tonight we are going to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And this comes to us because, well, it was my pick.
And why did you pick this movie?
I picked 2 specifically because it opens the door to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I kind of want to do this whole series because I love the Nightmare on Elm Street series, even the bad ones. It's kind of like comfort food for me, if that makes any sense. And I just kind of felt like talking about it.
Well, let's talk.
All right. Released on November 1st, 1985, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge was directed by Jack Shoulder, written by David Chaskin, based on the characters created by Wes Craven. And it stars Mark Patton, Kim Myers, Robert Ressler, Clu Kluger, Hope Lang, Robert Englund, and a bunch of other victims.
How'd this movie do, Don?
This movie was made for $3 million and brought in $30 million.
Let's talk about that release date of November 1st, 1985.
You were 12.
Well, now I was 13.
13, okay.
But I was more alluding to it's the 40th anniversary of this movie this year. And what's exciting about it is we get to go to Crypticon this year and actually get to see Mark Patton and Kim Myers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'll go ahead and say it right now. This isn't one of my favorites of the series. In fact, it is in the lower echelon of the series. However, I will also say it is not the worst.
And I would agree with that.
There you go. I know you've seen this before, John, but did you ever see this in the theater?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, really?
Even at 13, I somehow got in to see it. And I've seen it many, many times after that.
Yeah.
But, the funny thing I was thinking about is we'll just throw this out, right now. There's obviously a lot of gay undertones in this movie. That didn't hit me the first few times I saw it. I never even thought about that until years later.
I'm sure that was the way it was for a lot of people.
When you first saw it, was it theater or was it just like rental?
Because the original traumatized me so much that I told a story on the Nightmare pod, but it had been months and months and months. I was finally able to, this is ironic, sleep and not be scared. And because I started listening to the radio. And I would listen to Delilah, right? And, all the songs back in the 80s. And God damn it, they had a radio ad for the new Line Cinema movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And it has Freddy laughing. And the trauma just starts all over again for me. So I didn't see this until later in life.
Did you pick up on any of the undertones, you think, in the beginning?
When I first watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Kim? When's the first time you saw it?
Wait, let me guess. For the pod.
I don't remember if I've seen this movie before or not.
Oh, okay.
because something like this, when you have a groundswell of friends, hey, let's go see a movie, right? And everybody's like, yeah, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Sometimes you get the movie you want out of that pick. Sometimes you don't get the movie you want out of that pick, but you go anyway because you're going out with your buddies. So I frankly don't remember if I actually saw this or not.
Gotcha. But it's quite possible that you could have.
Yes, very possible.
Yeah.
And the whole gay thing, this movie did not register any ping whatsoever on the gaydar.
Before we got here tonight, I actually watched the Scream Queens episode, Nightmare on My Street, which is all about Mark Patton's journey from when he filmed this movie to his life afterwards and all of that. They really focus a lot on the intent of the writer, David Chaskin, in that when this movie first came out, it was the height of the AIDS epidemic. And they were afraid to say that this movie had homosexual undertones in it. So when they interviewed David, he would say, no, that was never my intent to have any of that intent, those subtext in the movie. Later on, he admitted he purposely did write subtle homosexual undertones in it and thought that most people would miss them. But because of Mark Patton being, at the time, I don't know if he was openly gay.
He was closeted.
He was closeted, but because of his mannerisms, he said the actor made the movie gay. And that really caused a lot of friction between Mark and David to the point where it took years for him before he was able to forgive David. Nowadays, or in the last couple of years when the Scream Queens came out, he admitted, it was totally on purpose. He put in all of that subtext. He expected this movie to become a gay horror movie, in that at the time he wrote it, being homosexual was seen as a mental illness and almost like an evil thing because of being related to HIV and AIDS. And he thought, well, let's make the villain of the movie be homosexuality. He says, he wasn't homophobic at the time, but he wanted the movie to come across as homophobic rather than homoerotic. And to me, that just made him a dick.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a great documentary on the series called Never Sleep Again, and it goes to the behind the scenes of all of the films, including Freddy versus Jason. When you get to 2, they talk to Chaskin, and he says, yeah, I put subtext in there, just kind of subtle hints. But what they landed up filming, he thought was more than what he intended. So, and during that whole production, when they talked to the crew, they're like, we never saw it. We didn't get it. We didn't pay attention to it. We were just making a horror film. And sure, Mark acted a little, the way he was, but, they just kept going on with it. Ultimately, I think that the problem with this movie isn't the subtext or any of that. It's the fucking story. But we'll get into that.
Yeah. Some of the other things I thought was interesting, like they actually put David and Mark in a room so they could hash it out because of Mark's bad feelings. I mean, he left Hollywood after this movie. He got so much bad publicity, so many people just so negative against him. He moved down to Mexico, where for the documentary Never Sleep Again, they actually had to hire a private detective to find him because he went off the grid. He was trying to stay hidden and away from this movie as much as possible. So when they found him and brought him back, and he realized there were still fans out there of this movie, now he started touring and doing the conventions and everything like that. That's what brought him back into the limelight, is that documentary. But before then, like when he sat down with David and started hashing it out, and David said to him, well, I didn't really write those things in there. You guys kind of added it with your mannerisms and everything. He goes, David, you wrote a scene where I close a drawer in my bedroom with my ass. That wasn't gay? And he goes, well, okay, maybe I did add some things in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it sounds fascinating. So if you want to know more about it, watch Scream Queens, The Nightmare on My Street. I think it's on Hulu or Prime?
I rented it on Prime, but it's on Screenbox for free if you have Screenbox.
Yeah, there you go. Check it out. This movie was directed by Jack Shoulder. Jack Shoulder was an employee at New Line. He cut a lot of trailers, and Bob Shea, the guy who ultimately built New Line, and he said, or he had Shoulder make a movie called Alone in the Dark, 1982 slasher film. You guys ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of it, never seen it.
You've seen it?
No, sir.
No. Listeners, Alone in the Dark, 1982. And so on that, he comes in to direct 2, and they ask him to do 2 because Wes Craven says no. But other than this, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 things he's done that I've heard of, but I'd never heard of Jack Shoulder before.
He actually did make a movie that was in the franchise series of another slasher I actually kind of like, The Wishmaster. He did number 2.
Oh,
You
really?
ever seen any of the Wishmaster movies?
I think I've seen the first one.
Yeah, I thought that was a good series. It got pretty bad, after a while, but kind of like the Leprechaun movies. But it was a good premise in the beginning.
They all get bad.
Yeah.
They all get bad, right? So
You mentioned something interesting earlier about Wes Craven refused to direct this movie. Why did he refuse?
because he didn't like the script. He didn't like the story. He felt that Chaskin broke the rules that Wes Craven fucking created. But at the time, they didn't know what they had, right? They went into this production really quick.
Totally.
And, hindsight being 2020, and even Wes Craven and Bob Shea and Robert Englund and in the franchise, they talk about it in that documentary, which is probably the latest thing you'll get because Wes Craven has passed away. That eventually they worked out their issues and they all sorted it out. But two was moving so fast,
Flying by the seat of their pants.
and Bob Shea goes to Wes, hey, let's do this again. And Craven reads the script and goes, no, this is horse shit. And they just said, okay, we'll go with someone else. It is what it is, and we got what we got, and here we are.
And we got Wes Craven returned for number 3.
Yeah, and we'll get into that as we get into the series.
And speaking of how quickly this movie was going, they actually filmed the pool scene in August for a November release of this movie. So they had to move really quick on this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about Mark Patton a little bit. What'd you think of Mark Patton there, Ken?
He was just a kid. I didn't find anything overwhelming or unique about him.
Yeah.
Very generic.
A kid from a slasher movie, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who he fucking reminds me of?
Let's see here. How about
Someone we know.
somebody? Oh, Joey?
Yes! You're Joey. That's who he reminds me of. The hair, the attitude.
The hair I can see.
I mean, it's so funny because now when I watch it, it's fucking Joey.
I was thinking kind of sort of a young Anthony Edwards.
Oh, a little bit. Mark did this movie at the same time. I mean, Brad Pitt auditioned for it. Christian Slater auditioned for it.
They thought about having Michael J. Fox in this movie.
Yeah, and Michael J. Fox. And could you imagine? But
No.
the director, Shoulder, liked Patton, and so here we are.
He had, Mark Patton had done he did like a Broadway play for a while with Cher, actually, that got turned into a movie that he was in a movie. He did a bunch of TV, and this was supposed to be his big breakout movie role with him as starring lead.
Yeah, which is too bad because the story fucks him. But we'll get into that.
Yeah. And what I agree with the internet and convention folks, he is the first iconic male scream queen, and he prides himself on that. I thought, as well as they considered him, they always had the last girl. The last girl always survives the movies. He was kind of the first last guy to survive a movie.
Yeah, he was the first,
Mm-hmm.
probably. But
So they were trying to go the opposite direction. And what a lot of people said that kind of hurt him with this movie is that in other movies where you have a last girl, they always start out meek, and then they kind of find the, as they put it, the phallus, and becomes the badass in the end to kick ass and win the day. Whereas Mark, they kind of made him effeminate in the beginning, had this feminine traits to him, and he never really gives that up, and no one ever kind of roots for him throughout the movie to butch up at the end and beat Freddy. It just doesn't happen. So again, that's another reason why I felt like the script did not work.
Yeah, but Lisa, she champions him.
Yeah, she champions him, but she's not the final girl. It's Mark that's supposed to be the final girl in this movie.
Oh yeah, that was apparent. Unfortunately, the script doesn't help, and he could have been, but
the two things that this movie really suffers with is the script and the quality. I felt like the quality was shit in this movie.
Yeah, rushed.
Yeah.
Very rushed. Very rushed. Speaking of Lisa, Kim Myers, do you guys know her from anything?
I heard that this was her first movie.
Yeah. Do you know why they hired her?
She looked like Meryl Streep.
She looked like Meryl Streep.
I actually
She does.
I
Yeah,
feel
she
like I
does.
know her from somewhere, but I don't know.
It's Meryl Streep.
Yeah. I thought she did okay.
I thought she was fine as the protagonist's girlfriend. And I mean, we've seen this character 1,000 times.
Mhm.
And then, there's not a whole lot of characters that we could talk about. Robert Russler, the guy who played Grady, he was in Weird Science.
Yeah, and how did he get his audition for this?
Robert Downey Jr. gave him a ride on their last day of filming Weird Science.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I thought he was a generic teen. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fine.
Robert Englund.
Who's that guy?
Stop it. Well, let me ask you this real quick, Professor. How many Elm Street movies have you seen that you remember?
Well, I know that I've seen 3. I don't know if I've seen any of the others after that.
Okay, fair enough. That's a good gauge for me. Favorite Freddy performance?
Oh, you had to go there. I'd have to go with number 3. It's just overall my favorite movie. You really start getting the joking quips from Freddy in 3 where it really stands out. And you get just the full appearance of him. He's not just hidden in the shadows most of the time.
1.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I love him in 3. I think he's great in 3. My favorite performance of his, though, probably 1.
Mhm.
Probably because he's more sinister. But 3, 4, fucking classic Freddy. And an honorable mention to New Nightmare. If you ever, well, you'll get the chance when we review it. But New Nightmare.
Accounting for inflation, do you know what the order is of the movies?
I want to say, isn't 4 number 1?
No, number 1, counting for inflation, would be Freddy versus Jason, if you count that one. Number 4,
I guess
would be,
I guess in a numbers game you
Yeah.
could.
if you just want to go by the number, 1 through
7.
7, it would be number 4 would be the top one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 4 was hugely popular. I remember when that came out. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to talk about it when we get there.
Followed by 3,
Okay.
followed by 1,
Okay.
followed by the 2010 version.
Well,
The remake.
Yeah, today's marketing people were dumb. They went, fuck. They took my money, assholes.
Mm-hmm.
It says $14 I'll never get back. It was only $14 back then.
Followed by Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Then A Nightmare on Elm Street number 2, number 5, and New Nightmare. So New Nightmare is at the bottom.
Yeah, it didn't do well. People didn't get it back in 94. I got it.
I remember seeing it and thinking, this isn't what I'm used to. I wanted to see Freddy in a Nightmare on Elm Street typical movie. But then I realized years later, as maybe my mind expanded a little bit, he was ahead of his time on that.
Yeah, that's what led to Scream.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of similarities, but talk about it when we get there. Trivia time?
Sure. Let's make it trivia time right now. Question number 1. While unpacking, Lisa tosses an aerosol can to Jesse. What is it a can of?
Hairspray.
No.
It is a can of deodorant.
No.
Air freshener?
No.
Fuck me. What is it?
Jock itch.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
When Jesse is returned home by the police, what advice are the parents given?
Keep an eye on this one.
Get this one in line. Tell him to go upstairs and keep him in line.
I know he was naked.
Of course you do.
He got the subtext all the way.
I would keep a short leash on this one.
Damn it. That's 0 for 2.
We're going to have to give back our Freddy badge.
Gee, fuck off.
Do you remember that line?
Yeah, I do. I
They're gonna have-
absolutely do.
You're going to have to take off that Freddy shirt.
Because it leads to one of my favorite bits in the movie. And we'll get there. Dad talks to him. I love that.
Oh, jeez. When Grady is watching over Jesse as he sleeps, how many times does he change the channel before he turns it off?
4.
3.
What's your guess?
4.
What's your guess?
I'm going to say 5.
You said 3 first time.
Okay, I'll say 3. I'll go with 3.
The correct answer is 4.
Bam, 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 bam.
I was screwed either way. If you beat me by just 1 point, that will suck.
At the last party that Lisa had, she said her dad insisted on playing what?
Benny Goodman.
Yes. Benny Goodman all night long.
Was that the final question?
And question number 5.
Question number 5.
What is the name on the side of the red wagon full of beer?
Red Rider?
Red Wheeler.
No, sir.
What is it?
Radio Flyer.
Oh, God damn
I
it.
knew it was something like that. Okay, I got 2 questions for you guys.
Wait, are you done?
We know you won, okay?
Yes.
Okay,
You won.
but he's got to announce it. Go ahead, bud.
So that makes Don the clear winner tonight. Good job, Don.
3-0, bitch.
Okay, so I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
The S&M bar
Bob
that-
Shea.
that Jesse goes to, what's the name on the bar?
Don's place.
Don's Place.
Yeah.
I did not make that a trivia question because you would certainly have known that.
But I had forgotten.
What were the name of the caffeine pills that Jesse says?
I was like,
Stay awake.
stay and wake.
It would stay up.
Stay up.
Wait, it's Viagra?
Fuck. Who knows?
At the pool party, what was written on the dad's apron?
Kiss the cook.
I don't know.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. Five years after Freddy Krueger's apparent defeat, the Walsh family moves into Nancy Thompson's former home. Their teenage son, Jesse, begins experiencing disturbing nightmares about Freddy. While exploring the house, Jesse and his friend Lisa discover Nancy's old diary, which details nightmares eerily similar to Jesse's own. Strange and unexplainable phenomena escalate, including spontaneous fires around the house and their pet bird spontaneously combusting. Jesse has another nightmare where Freddy urges him to kill for him. As his dream intensifies, Jesse struggles to stay awake but soon begins wandering the streets at night. One night, he is caught at a gay bar by his gym teacher, Coach Schneider, who punishes him by forcing him to run laps at school. In the gym showers, Freddy emerges through Jesse's body and murders Schneider. Jesse wakes up in horror only to find Freddy's glove on his own hand.
Dun, dun, dun.
I feel like right as this movie starts, we are shown how this movie is going to be. That was probably one of the worst title sequences I think I have seen in any of the films we have reviewed.
Now, by title sequences, you're talking about the main titles, which, for the record, do not fit any of the format from the prior or all of the series. But what struck out to me, which should have been red flag number 1, was the Freddy's Revenge.
Oh, yeah. The font.
And the kung, it was like Die Hard,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Like it was going to be like some sort of an action flick.
yes, absolutely. What'd you think of it?
I just wasn't impressed by the opening at all.
And then we are introduced to
The bus.
our first nightmare sequence. And because every movie has to start with a nightmare.
And I have to admit, the first time I saw this, I don't know if I caught that Robert Englund was driving the bus without
Yeah.
the makeup on.
I don't know either. I definitely caught it when I watched it. Did you catch it?
No, but I had paused the movie on Prime, and you get the character and the actor name showing on the screen. It's just like, so that's what he looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch the original V series, the TV series?
No.
I used to love Ms. Willie.
Oh, I loved him
On
as
that
well.
series.
Yeah. And so on this bus, Jesse's going along. What do you guys think of this whole opening bus ride?
I thought it was interesting that later on he's portrayed as, having this girlfriend and everything, and he's got the hair and he's kind of stylish and everything. But here he's portrayed as kind of a nerdy loner kid who's afraid to talk to girls.
And I thought that watching it, because they show him a lot and he kind of looks up and he's like, "Hmm." And I thought he's not like this through the entire movie. And then I remembered, oh, it's a fucking dream. We're in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously this is how he sees himself, is one way of taking it.
From what I read, they originally wanted to almost start it with like Nancy's car and how Freddy had trapped them in the car.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things Wes Craven threw a huge fit about is no, I want that story ended. They ended the story there because he wanted them to drive off in the sunset and be happy. He didn't even like the ending of the original one. And so they said, okay, well, we kind of ended with them going off to school. Let's put these kids on a school bus like they're going to school or coming back from school.
Yeah, so there's that little tie-in there.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, Robert Englund's driving the bus. As far as them driving off the road and then landing up on like pillars because the ground has...
Yeah, collapsed away.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of that bit? Was it creepy? Feel anything?
I always, even back when I first saw it, I thought that looked a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite comical, but it's certainly low value.
It is. And, God bless him for trying to keep Freddy in the shadow and kind of make him creepy, when he stands up from being the driver.
Uh-huh.
But that sequence takes way too long. The kids are super fucking annoying, and that bus should have tipped 5 minutes ago. So there you have it. And Jesse wakes up screaming, and this is where we get his first scream.
It looks like he just came out of the shower.
Soaking wet. I mean, this poor kid probably had to be doused with water all through production because he's always fucking sweating, this kid. And so we are introduced to Jesse, and we are introduced to the Walsh family.
Right?
I like how when we hear Jesse scream, downstairs the family's just acting like it's just another day with him.
Yeah.
Like he wakes up every morning screaming.
Well, yeah, that's what that's what it's meant to imply.
The little sister.
Yeah.
Why does he always wake up screaming?
Yeah. How come he can't wake up like a normal person?
Did you catch the name of the cereal on the box?
No, I looked at it, but I couldn't see it.
It was a Fu Manchus.
Oh, that's right, because the little sister gets those nails, and it reminds Jesse of this mysterious man in his dreams. He doesn't know it's Freddy yet,
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, when I'm watching it way back when, I still have hope. And so
He heads outside, and we see his little piece of shit car, and we meet Lisa.
Well, this is where one of the things, we talked about the script being a little incoherent, a little bit all over the place. When they talk, about her, someone mentions like your boyfriend or about them dating, and she says, no, he's just my ride.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that like a very short time later, she's all of a sudden his girlfriend. So like, how did she go from just being just my ride to boyfriend and girlfriend?
haven't you ever... They're working on it. She might be barking up the wrong tree, but haven't you ever gone to bed one night and woke up thinking, wow, I really love that person now?
No.
Oh, well, she did. That's what happened.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the next scene we have is the softball scene.
What'd you guys think of this?
All right, we got to see who our foil is for Jesse.
Right. And we have to meet who we think are the potential victims. Again, this is a slasher movie, right? So we're introduced to Grady and then the high school.
Were they?
Coach Snyder.
Yep.
Yeah, were Grady and Jesse acquaintances at this point? Was Grady kind of a bully, or was just this their first meeting?
Yes.
I couldn't figure out what their relationship, because they seem to become chums real quick.
Well,
yes,
but they become chummy, if you will, because they are having a shared experience. They're being tormented by Coach Snyder.
Right.
And so they become kindred spirits, if you will, together because they both are suffering from the same fate.
Yes. And at first you can't really tell if Grady's just a dick or if he's just fucking with them, because it's really up to Jesse's expressions to let us know.
Yep.
And it's not until the next couple of scenes when they're in class that I get, okay, they're buds now.
Right.
Almost every scene that Grady was in, I kept thinking, this is how Don was when he was in high school.
Thanks,
You
buddy.
were Grady.
Thanks, buddy.
So afterwards in the locker room, Grady finds out where Jesse lives. You live in that house?
That was a fucking crazy house. What does he say? The mother killed herself. The daughter had to watch her boyfriend being butchered across the street.
And she went crazy.
And, Jesse's like, fuck off, dude. I don't believe you.
So later on that night,
He also mentions, too, about, I think, the coach being into S&M and going to bars.
Yeah.
I believe while they were hanging out on the field.
I think there's because they have to do push-ups too.
Yeah.
well, actually, they're planking.
They're what?
Planking.
I think.
Oh,
I think-
okay.
But it was kind of a foreshadowing to what a scene that we get later when they talk about the S&M stuff.
So that night, Jesse gets up and he goes to the refrigerator and he thinks maybe he sees somebody outside. And in true horror movie fashion, what do?
You go outside and you look, because why not? Right. And
I think at this point too, the viewer is, obviously we're questioning, is this really happening or is he now dreaming again? Which I just assumed he was dreaming.
So he goes around the side of the house and we see a reflection of flames dancing off of the garbage can. So there is something burning.
oh, right.
And then he approaches and he looks down into the basement and he sees somebody down there. We know who it is. And there's a fire in that furnace or heater or whatever that is. And we see him throw something in there. And so then what does he do in true horror movie fashion?
He's got to go down there and investigate.
Got to go down there and investigate.
Right. And another nod to the original, because that's where,
Yep.
Nancy put the glove.
Well, that's where
Or
the
her
mom kept the glove.
Fuck. Excuse the hell out of me.
Well, get it right.
So he sees the shadow downstairs. Then he decides, oh shit. Closes the door. Dad. And then immediately Freddy's challenging the door. Dad.
And Freddy's on his way up. And he gets out. And this is the bit where we get Freddy
Yeah.
for the first time.
Face to face.
And what'd you think of this bit?
Well, I thought the makeup was interesting. The makeup artist doing Freddy's burns and everything had not seen the first movie, had not seen what he had looked like, and was trying to make him look like a scary male witch.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of get this different burned look for Freddy.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like his eyes.
The demon red, yellow eyes.
Yeah. It looked different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but this is the Freddy we get.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Jesse that he's here because he needs him. He needs him to be a vessel for him to be able to come out and kill. So he needs Jesse to kill for him.
So Freddy's coming out is what you're saying.
So he wakes up. Okay, now we're out of the nightmare. And now it's the next day at school and it's the snake pit.
Well, what did you think of the whole brains thing where he peels back the skin on his head to show his brain? One thing that always bothered me is, wouldn't he have a skull over his brain?
Not necessarily, not in a dream. Not when you can do whatever you want. It reminded me a lot of when he cuts his finger off in the first one. It says,
Yeah.
This is God. Right? What do you think when he pulled it back?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Freddy thing to do.
Yeah, it was very Freddy.
I'm thinking Freddy just wants to kill the Elm Street kids. I mean, that's Freddy, right? The parents tracked him down, burned him alive, came back, something worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't know if the Walshes had anything to do with it. We assume that they moved into this house,
Yeah,
right?
they're new to the neighborhood.
Right. So,
Yeah. Unpack all your stuff.
yeah. So why is Freddy picking on this kid?
I don't know.
I always just assumed it was part of the rules that if you lived on Elm Street, whether you are new or whatever, you're in Freddy's territory.
Oh, maybe.
So
Maybe.
when they moved in, especially into that specific house, that's where Freddy's epicenter is. That's his focus, and you're fucked if you move into that house.
Yeah. And so the next day at school, it's the snake pit.
Yeah, he's asleep.
And you're thinking nightmare?
Yeah,
Reality? Nightmare?
because everybody around him seems to not notice at all this huge snake going around his body.
Which I thought was fucking weird.
And isn't the teacher teaching a lesson about taking a shit?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what he was saying.
He was talking about how food is processed and comes out your anus.
No.
He didn't say anus.
Well, he didn't say anus, but he was talking about how it forms into poop.
Yes, that's exactly what he was talking about.
Well, there you go, bud.
Mhm.
There you go.
And then he gets all pissed off about playing with his snake.
Well, I don't know how the snake got around him. So,
Totally.
Mhm.
but it was a good moment. It was genuine. It's at this point you can say, okay, they're buds, because Jesse flips off Grady because he knew he did it, but he's laughing about it.
Exactly.
So,
I thought the little smirk and the flip off, yeah. I liked how that's evolving.
So Jesse, he's now forced to unpack his bedroom. He's going to head out, do something with Lisa, but nope, back upstairs. Got to unpack. He does his little dance.
that's kind of cringy.
Kind of.
But did you recognize the song?
Yes.
So did I. I forgot that song was in this. It has a needle drop before it
song
was
is
a
it?
needle drop.
I think we're alone now.
No, that's not what it was. It was hold me, touch me.
Oh, yes,
feel me
that was it.
all night long.
He gets asked at different conventions to dance.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
That's one of
People
his-
love that shit.
It's one of his big things. Like, that was the moment in the movie he gets up and he dances around and he does the little popper thing. And
Yeah.
And then Lisa and Mom, and she offers to help him get the room unpacked or moved into.
Right. And during this, she notices up in the closet a red diary. And I like this bit because it ties us back.
Yep.
And it's connecting it.
Yep.
it brings Nancy into the movie.
Well, it brings the whole first movie into the movie, which is what we need, right? For
Mhm.
context, if you will.
Yeah, for a reason for Freddy to be here.
Right. And so they start reading the diary and they find out that it is, in fact, Nancy Thompson's house. And the killer's name is Fred Krueger. And he kills you in your fucking dreams. He is a dream killer.
Yep. So
Literally.
us, the audience, we are now brought up to speed about who and what Freddy is, just in case we hadn't seen the first one.
Right.
And so later that night, Jesse, he wakes up to a super hot room where stuff in the room is melting.
You know what I noticed throughout this whole film is when strange shit is happening to different characters, the only look any of them can muster is, Jesse is so unexpressive when weird shit is happening. It kind of takes me out of it all the time.
Well, right here, this was another scene that I thought this has to be a dream. Shit doesn't just melt like that in your room. Even if it's 98 degrees in your room, shit's not going to melt like that.
No.
So I assume
Agreed.
this is like that whole scene with the killing of the coach and everything. I thought that was just one long dream sequence.
Yeah.
Yep. And so he heads on down to the basement and he's looking at the furnace and he looks inside to find the glove. And then the furnace erupts and then Freddy shows up. And then, he says, kill for me.
Well, I like how he first tells him, goes, try it on, see if it fits.
Yeah, he's coercing him.
Don, and I think Ken, you've seen it too. I have a kind of a collection of Freddy gloves from different movies. And I actually ordered a custom-made number 2 glove. And the awesome thing about it is the guy that made it for me and sent it to me, it was wrapped in a cloth that looked exactly like it did when it was pulled out of the furnace.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's nice to have it kind of that feeling of it as you kind of unwrap it for the first time.
You're starting to scare me a little bit there, bud. You realize Freddy Krueger killed little children.
If I had the glove here right now, would you just look at it or would you want to put it on?
So he's standing in the shower, or he's standing
Exactly.
in the basement boiler room area, and Freddy comes out and says, yeah, try it out and see how it feels. And he does.
So Freddy, he's trying to talk to him. And then all of a sudden, Freddy is he's gone. And then the fire goes out and he's down on the ground. And how did the fire go out? And then as he turns back to the front towards us, he goes to get himself up off the floor and there's the glove sitting on the floor. And so he's thinking, oh shit, the glove is really here.
Yeah, because he thought he was dreaming for a sec.
Yes.
So we are now in the real world, right?
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, this movie confuses me. So,
Yeah, but we knew that the real glove was in the furnace anyway, so he could have been sleepwalking or whatever, pulled it out, dropped it on the floor.
it's plausible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the next day we're back at school and he and Lisa are talking about Jesse's dream. And Lisa asks if she could borrow the diary.
Right. She wants to look at it
Right.
a little bit more.
And such a nice friend / girlfriend, whatever, she is buying into everything. I mean, she is not one point in this movie questions that this guy's fucking insane.
Yeah. Very rare does that happen.
Mm-hmm. Especially in these kind of movies. I mean, she's just like,
Well, but usually in these kinds of movies, it's the girl. So in those times,
well, then they would
question.
we would just say they're hysterical.
Right. Exactly. So
So we hear a little bit about Lisa. She's going to have a big party. And so, okay. And then we get a quick little bit with Rob and Jesse. They're in the shower and they're talking shit about Coach Schneider and he's standing there.
all right, dirt bags.
And there they are back outside planking again.
This was the scene that actually made me laugh. Just the look of, oh, fuck, we got caught. And then cut to blanking. And then cut to.
So back at home, why is the living room so hot? I don't know. Maybe the thermostat is broken. I don't know.
I love how the dad gets up and goes to look at the thermostat. And I mean, what's he going to fucking do? Right?
I don't know. He's going to look to see how hot it is in there.
I thought they were going to do the typical trope of who the fuck's been touching these gauges.
Oh, maybe.
How hot was that?
98 degrees.
97.
97 degrees. Pretty fucking hot.
And they put the cover over the birds for them to go to sleep for the night. And then you start hearing all that rumbling inside the bird cage.
Jesse comes in. Why is it so hot in here?
Because he's fucking possessed?
I guess.
I don't know. See, is Freddy's doing this from the dream world?
Yeah, and see, that's what doesn't make sense.
That's where we start getting the broken rules.
Because this has to be a dream. It has to be a dream because we're having this supernatural stuff happen, but it's the real world. What the hell?
And this is the parakeet bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They take the cover off, and one of the birds is instantly dead.
The other one's eating it. I
Yeah.
noticed that
Yes.
for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was supposed to be a call out to Alfred Hitchcock's Birds with the bird attacking the way it was, but it just came across as a creepy puppet bird.
yeah. And so deadly, too. Knocks dad on his ass.
They originally wanted to make it look like a demon bird, but they just said that's too much and we don't want to put that much effort into the scene.
Yeah, they didn't have the budget.
So they just had it flying around, attacking the people, and then eventually it just explodes into flames. It self-combusts.
It bursts into flames.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh seeing the feathers coming down.
Yeah. Kind of a comedic moment.
Felt very cartoony.
I love what the dad says to the mom. What kind of feed are you buying that bird? You bought the cheap stuff.
Well, I love how he also immediately went to, it was Jesse.
Yeah,
He put a cherry bomb in the bird.
Oh, right.
He
Yeah.
blamed Jesse. So then that night, Jesse, he gets up and he goes down into the kitchen, and this is where we have, what the fuck? Where you have that lightning bolt shoot through the kitchen window and hit the dishes.
And so we're getting supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I mean, it was written to be a possession movie, but Freddy doesn't possess. Moving on.
Well, the strange thing to me is, first of all, whether you're awake or you're asleep, again, the debate on whether he was awake or asleep, the lightning comes through, hits the dishes, he's just wearing his pajamas and everything, and the next thing he does is decide to go for a walk in the rain.
And it's pouring.
Pouring.
I thought, well, maybe he's just really hot and he thought he would cool off that way, but that is a weird thing to do.
I'm thinking this is a fucking dream.
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought too.
Because it has to be. Nobody does this.
Exactly. People do weird shit in their dreams all the time, and you wake up and it's like, why was that happening? But I was doing it.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be, 17, maybe 18 years old, in high school. First of all, none of those kids look like they were freaking high schoolers. They all look like they were 27, 28 years old. But he's walking along and he sees an S&M bar and thinks, hey, this is a good idea. Why don't I just go in there in my pajamas? I'm soaking wet.
It did not look like an S&M bar from the outside.
It just looked like a bar.
It looked like a dive bar.
Yeah.
It actually turned out where they filmed it, and the director didn't know this, it was the number one gay bar in that city where they filmed this.
And so for whatever reason, he can immediately have a beer without any idea or money exchanging.
The bartender, do you know who the bartender is?
No.
I've heard who he is. Who is he?
It's Bob Shea, the man at New Line Cinema.
Yeah. But I did think it was funny. You bring up a great point, Ken. Here walks in a kid soaking wet in his pajamas, orders a beer, and it's like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
And who's there in his leather outfit?
Coach Schneider.
Again, gotta be a fucking dream, because what do we cut to? Running laps
Well,
in the middle of the night?
In that big red glowing room right next to the gym.
What?
That screamed
Dream.
That screamed dream.
We're in a dream.
But my other thought was too is Coach Snyder's in that bar. There's rumors about him. He's in that bar in that leather thing. You think the last thing he would want to do is confront a student and be seen by the student?
Not if you're Coach Schneider.
Apparently not.
Because again, laps in the middle of the night. And then go hit the shower. Really? Dream. Gotta be a fucking dream.
Absolutely.
I really thought the coach was going to make a move on him in the shower.
Oh, well, I figured it was
just
going
seemed
somewhere.
So creepy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, Jesse's taking a long shower, I guess, in the middle of the night. Dream.
Well, if it wasn't a dream, here's another instance where they break the rules.
And so Coach Schneider's sitting there waiting for him. And all of a sudden,
he gets balls to face.
He gets the balls to the face. What kind of made me scratch my head and go, huh? was the
Tennis rackets?
yeah.
Twing, twing, twing.
Were they just getting really hot and burning and snapping?
That's what I think. I think they
I
were
guess.
heating up each of the wires.
Whatever.
But I feel like there was an electrical hum in there, like it was electrocuted.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a big old whatever. This whole scene was a big old whatever.
Or what the fuck?
That's where I was going to go.
Take your point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Make your choice, right? And so,
Let's just get it over with.
yeah, and so Jesse's in the shower, and he starts having the urge. That's what we'll call it, the Freddy urge.
Well, Freddy's coming out of him.
And he looks down, and his hand's down, and then his hand comes back up, and we see the claw. And now, in the meantime, Coach Snyder is getting balls to the face, and then the jump rope comes up, and it starts dragging him
By an unknown force.
Well, Freddy, I'm assuming, dream,
Obviously.
right?
And he gets strung up, and then they do the whole towel snapping on his ass thing.
Yeah. And then instead of actually showing us the metamorphosis, we can see Jesse's silhouette in the steam of the shower, and then the steam gets really thick, and then all of a sudden Freddy comes walking out. And we know, this can't be good, I guess. Since when does Freddy start killing adults?
A lot of people who really follow this movie, really enjoy this movie, thought that it was a pleasant surprise that instead of having gratuitous naked women, you had a naked man in this movie.
And so Freddy kills Snyder.
Slashes him across the back.
I mean, I thought it would have been a little bit more.
I thought so too. It was 1, 2 max.
But I thought the deep look of the cuts and the way they sliced through him, those didn't look too horrible, but it just wasn't a great kill.
And we're 30 minutes into the movie, and this is our first kill. And I didn't bring this up earlier. What really kills this film for me, unfortunately, you know what you never hear in this movie? The original Nightmare on Elm Street theme with the piano.
Yeah. They removed it from this movie.
Oh.
They didn't even use it.
Yeah.
WTF.
Yeah. You don't hear it once.
That's
and you only get the 1-2 Freddy coming for you one time.
Mhm.
And it felt forced. But we'll get there.
And so the coach is dead. We then turn the camera around, and there's Jesse covered in blood wearing the glove.
And he lets out
And Freddy's gone.
And he lets out this wonderful scream. And then we cut to
The doorbell.
and mom and dad come running down the stairs. They open it up, and there's Jesse, buck naked, with a blanket and some cops. And I'm thinking, not a dream?
I don't know.
How would you react if one of your kids came home like that with the cops? Would you put them immediately into drug rehab?
I would have shut the door.
Just said, he's yours for the night?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Arrest that fucker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to fucking know.
Pretty much.
I don't even want to know.
I would have said, if you're going to give him any charges, let me tell you about a fucking bird.
So after the cops drop him off, this bit with dad, 2 questions.
What are you taking and who are you getting it from? Such a dad thing.
I like what he says right before it. Okay, so just answer these 2 questions and then we can all go to bed.
Yeah.
And those 2 questions, heroin, and I'm getting it from Brad. Okay, let's go to bed. We'll talk about this tomorrow.
I thought he was going to say something like, I'm getting it from your drawer, and I learned it from watching you.
That would have been about the right time, for sure.
The next day, Jesse, he leaves the house in a big old huff. Dad's up there on the ladder putting bars on Jesse's windows.
No, he's taking the bars off.
He was
Oh,
taking the bars down,
off.
I think, yeah.
That Marge put up. Marge Thompson.
Okay.
Call back to number 1. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought, why is he putting? And I go, oh no, wait, right on. He's finally taking him down.
Mom says he should see a psychiatrist. And Dad's like, no, he shouldn't. He needs a kick in the butt.
That's my favorite brand of justice.
This is where you belong. Don't make me wait too long.
Jesse, now terrified of his own actions, is found wandering the street naked and escorted home by police. Lisa takes him to an abandoned factory where Freddy once worked, hoping to find answers, but they discover nothing. Later, Jesse attends Lisa's pool party where they share a kiss. However, his body begins transforming and he flees in terror. Seeking refuge, Jesse goes to his friend Grady's house, confessing to Schneider's murder and begging Grady to watch him while he sleeps. As Grady dozes off, Freddy fully emerges from Jesse's body and brutally kills him. Freddy then reverts back to Jesse, who, now terrified, flees to Lisa's house. Lisa realizes that Jesse's fear and emotional turmoil are allowing Freddy to gain control, but Jesse is unable to stop his growing terror. Freddy fully takes over, attacks Lisa, but is unable to kill her due to Jesse's lingering influence. Instead, Freddy turns his rage onto partygoers, slaughtering them in a bloodbath before escaping into the night. Roll credit. Oh,
You wish.
fuck. The next day,
They arrive at school, and what the hell is going on?
Schneider got it, dude. Someone fucking killed him. And then Jesse starts thinking, wait, was that fucking real? Did I really fucking do that? Or was it a fucking dream like it should have been?
Next scene, we have Jesse. He wakes because he's hearing something rattling. It's coming from his desk,
That scratching noise.
and he opens the drawer.
Kill for me, Jesse.
There's the glove rattling away. He goes down the hallway and he opens his sister's door, and she's jump roping.
And this is where we get the 1-2's Freddy's coming for you.
Which again felt like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you saying this wasn't a dream?
I'm saying the whole movie is pretty much a dream.
So the next morning at breakfast, Jesse, he confronts Dad about the history of the house and what happened here 5 years ago.
Oh, well, we got a pretty fucking sweet deal.
And then, so as the tension escalates, all of a sudden the toaster catches fire. A toaster that wasn't plugged in. Huh.
At what point do you just leave the fucking house?
Totally.
I would say after the fucking parakeet. Or maybe how fucking hot it was.
I would say the heat, you move into a motel and they fucking fix the heat in the house.
There you go.
So we have Lisa talking to Jesse, and she doesn't think that he is responsible for what's happening. And she has done some research, and she takes Jesse out to the abandoned power plant that Freddy Krueger used to work at.
Do you know what movie that power plant was used in?
The remake?
No. That was the same
RoboCop.
same power plant kind of area for Terminator 2.
Oh, who fucking cares? Terminator 2 is stupid.
Fuck off. So we are given the history, and we are told of Freddy and the 20 kids, and she has newspaper clippings and such. So they decide to, let's take a look around.
And she kind of asks him, are you feeling anything? Are you feeling some sort of connection? And like you were saying earlier, John, she buys it. She is on his side.
Mhm.
She is his, confidant. But no, we don't get nothing.
They hear the noise inside of the big cabinet thing, the metal cabinet, and it turns out to be just a giant rat.
Yeah. Yeah. A cheap jump scare. And mind you, we are well into this movie and we still only have
One kill.
I think I read that Freddy's only in the movie for like 13 minutes of the entire movie.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it feels very scarce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Freddy scarce. So back at home, we see the furnace heating up super fast and really bright. And then all of a sudden we're on this first person perspective, and we leave the basement, go up the stairs, through the house, up the stairs, and into his sister's bedroom. And then he tells her to wake up.
Wake up, little girl. What does she say?
What time is it?
For some reason, I thought she said, "Did someone make breakfast?"
Doesn't he say something along the lines of time for you to go back to sleep?
Well, because
Well, yeah,
he takes over.
Yeah, so the camera pulls back and we see that, okay, it's not Freddy. It's actually Jesse. But he is wearing the glove. Pulls the sheet up.
Do you like it feels like a delayed reaction, even though we only see the hands, but we see it come well into frame before he notices it, right? I thought as the audience viewer, as soon as you notice it, he would notice it. But what do I know?
Yeah, well, it lends to the possibility, is he going to kill his sister here?
Yeah. But then he snaps out of it and he realizes that he's Jesse. And again, not a dream? Or is this real?
Well, I just feel like he sleepwalks a lot in this movie. So he's dreaming while he sleepwalks, and then he wakes up and snaps out of it.
Right. And so now Jesse, he starts taking stay up, stay up pills.
Yeah. And now we're starting to feel more like a classic Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Right, because sleep is tormenting you.
And he
Yeah.
thinks he's just going crazy.
Right. He doesn't know what to think.
There's a fun little moment that happens here at school that made me laugh. It's when Grady and Jesse are sitting at the cafeteria table, and Grady's just shoving his mouth, and every line he speaks with, it's with a, fat chipmunk cheek, and you can barely hear what he's saying because his mouth's so full of food.
Right. And this is kind of what leads you to believe that these guys are buddies, right? Now everyone's kind of getting along, and they're talking about Lisa's party, and they're like, "Are you coming, Grady?" And he goes, "No, I'm grounded." "Why are you grounded?" "Because I threw my grandmother down a flight of stairs."
They gloss over the fact that he just threw his grandma down. Nobody asked him, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah, no, I love it. Because it was that was the reason why he wasn't going, and that was that, right? And so, but Jesse's kind of freaks out.
Yeah, and he's definitely not himself, and he leaves in a huff, and Lisa, she's seriously worried about
Well,
him.
what does he
Right.
say to Grady that pisses off Grady and Grady storms off?
Oh, I forget.
So now it's Lisa's party, and that is a lot of fucking kids over at that place.
My favorite bit about this scene, and this is the only favorite bit because the scene is fucking atrocious, are the parents.
Yeah, it's specifically Dad at the barbecue.
But yes, absolutely.
And playing that music.
Yeah. But it's Mom too. Mom knows how to get him out of there. Take him upstairs and time for bed.
Show him a good time.
That's right.
But I love the kids downstairs staring up at the window waiting for the light to go off.
yeah.
So we have Jesse. He heads in to get changed, and he wants to go home.
Well, he's
I'm
moping
just not
around.
feeling it.
Yeah, he was moping around for a while, and Lisa and her friend were talking about what's his deal and all that, and yeah, then he decides in a huff he's going to leave. So yeah, he goes to get changed.
He says he's afraid to go to sleep. He's afraid to stay awake, but they do end up starting to smooch.
I mean, because what's a better way to distract you from your problems than smooching?
Yep. And then outside, I don't know why the kids were waiting for the lights to turn off, and then they erupt in a humongous cheer, and instantly, the booze comes out and the music gets cranked, and the parents are going to be like, "Oh, we'll just let it be."
I love how I was thinking, it's not like they couldn't fucking hear it. And then the movie acknowledges it. "What the hell are those kids doing?" And the wife, smartly, "Come back to bed, honey." Right. And so back in the cabana,
Yep. Things begin to turn amorous.
and,
And Jesse decides to tongue her.
well, he tries, but then I think Freddy takes over, and that was a pretty long tongue.
Would Lisa have been surprised and wanted
Or-
some of that tongue?
I think she would have been impressed.
That's what I think what he's saying. I mean, maybe Jesse should have rode that out a little bit longer, is what you're saying?
I think she would have at first been impressed, but then the color wasn't exactly correct.
It all looks the same when you turn the lights off, bud.
That's true.
So,
He freaks and he leaves.
and she's like, "What the fuck? Just talk to me, right? What the fuck just happened?
Well,
You just
I always thought she just felt like he just got her all worked up, hot and bothered. Now he's just fucking running away and not finishing the job.
yes, clear. Yes, that's what happened.
I think she was pissed about that.
Well, I think she really likes him too. I guess I don't know.
Well, I think she better.
And so we cut to Grady sleeping, and then Jesse's there and wakes him up in a classic horror movie fashion.
I like Jesse's reaction. Or I like Grady's reaction to Jesse waking up. "What the fuck are you doing here?"
And this is the first time they start saying fuck, and they say it a couple more times from here, but there's not a lot of fucks in this movie. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I wonder if that is foreshadowing for what's going to happen at our rating time.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this whole Grady Jesse bit?
I knew exactly what was going to happen.
It seems like this happens in all of the Nightmare on Elm Street. Someone falls asleep and someone else is in charge of watching them.
And this kind of ties us back to the original and maybe puts us back into the right frame of mind. It's like we're going down a train track and then we start to veer off a little bit, and then every once in a while they'll throw a line in or something and we'll write it going back going, "Oh, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie." Jesse tells Grady, "Don't fall asleep," right? "All you got to do is watch and see if I start freaking out."
I liked Grady's whole conversation with him about, there's a girl back there who wants to do you, and you're hanging out with me.
Yeah, because Jesse's freaked the fuck out. He thinks something's trying to get inside of him.
Oh, that's right. Then he
And-
says, yeah, it's what's her name?
Yeah, he says, yeah, she's back at the cabana. And, well, you play dumb games.
Mm-hmm.
And
Back at the party, Carrie, she talks Lisa into, you should go find Jesse. Because it's a horror movie and you need to go to the monster.
right. And so Lisa just gets up and leaves on her own.
But she doesn't make
Party.
it very far. Because doesn't Jesse eventually find her in the kitchen or something like that?
She was just getting ready to go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and then after Lisa leaves, we cut back to Grady's room, and Jesse's asleep on the chair, and Grady's flipping through channels, very reminiscent to Johnny Depp before he dies.
He's just like, fuck it.
And he says, "Night, pal." And Jesse wakes up. It's inside of me. I could feel it starting again. And
Grady doesn't know what's going on, but shit hits the fan as soon as those claws start coming out of his fingertips.
and I mean, the practicals were eye-rolly-ish, but I mean, I get what they're trying to say.
One of the things that I tried to pay attention to, because I'm always looking at the glove and everything, is from here on, for most of the scenes, especially during the pool party, did you notice Freddy wasn't wearing a glove?
I did notice
It
that.
was
in
just
fact,
the
this last
claws
time.
coming out of the fingers.
Yeah, I noticed it this last time. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. What'd you guys think of this effect?
I get what they were doing. It looked okay.
What do you think of the eyeball in the back of the throat?
I thought that was creepy as fuck. And so, yes, this is where Freddy comes out. And
isn't that
and
Literally.
Yeah.
and Grady's fucking tripping, right? I would be too. And in horror movies, I always would ask myself, how come the kids never call for their parents? And in this one, both Jesse and Grady call for dad.
Well, he's immediately like, Dad!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What'd you think of this death?
I think that the death was better than what we had by far over Mr. Schneider. Having the claws come through the door, okay, this is how it should be.
Yes, agreed. And they come down,
Yes.
right? Because he's slicing them.
Yes.
I knew that Grady was, freaked the fuck out, but I thought he'd put up a little more of a fight.
Nobody puts up a fight against Freddy unless you're Nancy.
I don't know. I just felt like he would do something.
Well, guess what? He didn't.
Yeah, well, he did. He got fucked.
Did you like the death though?
Yeah, it was okay.
When they cut back to him, I wanted to see more shit on the chest but budget.
But then don't we get Jesse again covered in blood? Now he's screaming again, which I keep wanting throughout this whole movie. All these people die. The parents had to know something about it. I guess they wouldn't know that Jesse's over,
They would not have.
and maybe back then they didn't have DNA evidence or everything, but there'd be something to track Jesse back to that murder.
Okay, but it's over the course of a night.
Yeah.
Did you recognize the dad?
Yeah, it's Ferris's dad.
Yep, Ferris Bueller's dad.
Feel better, buddy, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Love you, pal.
Well, that's what happened to Ferris's older brother.
What?
Got murdered by Freddy.
Oh, Grady is Ferris's. Oh, yeah, dad can't handle it. Divorces this wife, marries Mrs. Bueller, and now we have Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mhm.
I think we just created something there, guys.
Yeah, we connected the universes.
That was good.
And then we see Freddy laughing his head off at Jesse through the mirror.
Oh, there's the mirror. Okay.
Yeah.
Parents are banging on the door.
And
He goes out the window.
yeah, he goes out the window and goes back to Lisa's.
And he confesses to her that he killed Schneider and Grady, and he tried to kill his sister. And for some reason, Lisa takes this very well, him being doused in blood and admitting that he just killed Grady.
Because all he needs to do is just fight it.
Right. And she's very understanding. I mean, she's ride or die, this Lisa chick.
In the meantime, outside at the party, some crazy stuff starts happening.
Well, the pool starts getting a little hotter with all that steam coming up.
And the hot dogs are getting really hot.
Did it make you want a hot dog?
No.
I kind of did.
Yeah,
Some ketchup, mustard.
I kind of felt it too.
Anyways,
And I kept thinking, that pool's getting hot. You think the moment it would start getting that warm, I would have gotten the fuck out the pool.
Me too.
yeah, but horror movie guy.
We have Lisa telling Jesse that she read the last page of the diary, and apparently there could be a way to get Freddy out of Jesse.
And what is that way?
Don't you have to not be afraid of him and take back?
You have to fight him, Jesse.
You have to take away his power.
You have to fight him.
And then we get a really quick.
You have to suck it out of him.
And then we get a really quick view of a couple of doors being locked and the gate being locked by the padlock. Shit's about to go down.
Wait. Let me ask you this one last time. This is it. Are we in a dream?
I think so.
See, and this is where the movie just fucks it all up because all of these deaths are taking place not in a dream. Fucked up.
Well, here's my theory is that Freddy is in the dream with Jesse and he's bringing in other people, like bringing Lisa into the dream, bringing Grady into the dream, bringing the coach into the dream and killing them. And just like in Freddy tradition, when he kills someone in the dream, they die similarly in real life. Like they have all the scratches and the cuts and everything. So in this case, the whole pool sequence, with the fires coming up and the doors locking and all that, it's all a dream. He's just brought certain people into the dream. All the people who died at the pool, I don't think they were even there. I think they were just all part of the dream.
You have, so Freddy pops out, and one of the first things I thought of was all those teenagers probably whooped the shit out of him.
I was thinking that too, but before he even gets out there, he kind of has the thing with Lisa where he's going back and forth, and Jesse's trying to fight him a little bit in that, Jesse, come back to me. And she stabs him a few times. Nothing happens.
And this is probably the most of Freddy we get.
And Freddy bites her on the leg.
Yeah.
But before that happens, I think that we, the audience, we are given something that is relevant and important for us to hear because we are specifically being told after Jesse tells her to get out of here, he's coming back, she tells him, you created him. You can destroy him. He's living off of your fear. That's what we are bluntly told.
Right. And so, and that is going to ultimately be the downfall of Freddy because Jesse will figure it out.
And then the pandemonium ensues.
And don't we also see a little bit because Freddy leaves that situation because his emotions are starting to mix with Jesse's and he can't kill Lisa.
Well, yeah,
and Jesse also says a couple times, kill me.
Right. He tells Lisa to kill him.
Right.
And when Lisa and Freddy are confronting each other, Jesse is holding Freddy back.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Because the part of Jesse in there doesn't want to kill Lisa.
So Freddy, for whatever reason, he backs off and then he goes crashing through those doors and he immediately disappears. He vanishes.
Again, which felt like the dream to me.
Yep. And everybody's like, what? 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 What?
And then boom, he comes out of the fucking
Michael Jackson Super Bowl halftime show. Bam, there he is.
And yeah, I'm thinking all these teenagers, they probably could have whooped the shit out of him.
One of the, I don't know why this feels to me the funniest part is maybe because we know Freddy, we know what he's like when the guy tries to talk him down. Did you not find that scene hilarious? Thinking, this guy's fucked.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And then what does he say?
Help yourself, fucker.
He flings him off. And then this is where I think that this is not a dream because you have Freddy standing there with his hands up, the flames behind him. And what does he say? You are all my children now, which I feel ties in what we get at the very end of the movie.
And I also don't think this is a dream because we've been set this party up this whole time and the parents are involved and everyone's acting like it's not a dream. And we've established, or they're trying to tell us that Jesse is the one doing this, hence him covered in blood. I mean, that's a pretty telltale sign. So yeah, they brought Freddy out of the dream into this pool party to kill 2 people. They show us 2 people, I believe.
Well,
which takes the kill count to 4.
While Freddy doesn't kill other people, he does toss like one guy into a fire. He does something else to another. I think the guy gets electrocuted on the fence. So inadvertently, he kills like 2 others.
Well, he's certainly ratcheting up the fear factor for everybody to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody being so freaked out, Dad shows up with the gun, shoots and misses. And then Lisa makes him miss again. And then for whatever reason, with everybody's fear just amped up super high, Freddy just calmly walks and disappears into a big puff of fire.
He just leaves.
Yeah. What's that about? Get everybody worked up into a lather, get all that fear going on, and my job here is done.
Well,
I think Dad
maybe it was Jesse, or maybe Dad would shoot him. I don't know.
Dad was a buzzkill.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
But why would Freddy care about a blast from a gun?
I think part of it
Good
was
point.
the fact that Lisa had come out and Jesse was stronger at fighting him with Lisa around. So what he needed to do, he knew that Lisa would follow him. So he was leading Lisa away so that he could get to her.
Or maybe trying to lead Freddy away from a bunch of kills.
Or
I don't know.
Or this was just a very poorly written script.
There we go. I think we're in agreement there. We are all in accord.
Determined to save Jesse, Lisa follows Freddy to an abandoned factory. Realizing that fear gives Freddy his powers, she fights to suppress her terror and confronts him. She pleads with Jesse to fight back, expressing her love for him and kissing Freddy. The emotional connection weakens Freddy's hold over Jesse, allowing him to regain control. Freddy bursts into flames, burning away until he is reduced to ash. From the remnants, Jesse emerges alive and free. Later, Jesse, Lisa, and their friend Carrie board the school bus, hoping to return to normalcy. However, Jesse notices disturbing similarities to his original nightmare and panics. Carrie reassures him that it's all over, only for Freddy's clawed arm burst through her chest. As Freddy laughs maniacally, the bus veers into a field, mirroring Jesse's first nightmare, leaving their fate uncertain. Roll credits.
This whole thing where Lisa follows him is again where it makes me feel like this whole part is just another part of the dream. Because first of all, she gets there and there's the freaking dogs with the human faces.
Yeah, well, the parakeet blew up.
So is Freddy now able to warp reality in the real world? Is that just something he's putting in her head that she's not really seeing?
Yeah, they don't do a good job of explaining it.
Because later on, when she gets inside, she starts scratching at the bite on her leg. She looks down and there's all these bugs in it. And then all of a sudden they're gone again.
Yeah.
And so again, this felt very dreamlike to me.
Yeah, I was hoping it was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how we fight Freddy. But
in the dream.
Yeah.
What did you think of that shot, as we back away? I thought that was a pretty neat looking shot.
Which one?
When after she passes the dog babies, the baby dogs, and then we see it, we are back at the power plant and there's the green smoke coming or the green lighting, and we see her walking through the structure as the camera backs away from all of it, and we see the immenseness of the plant.
That's a good shot. Absolutely.
We do get a second reference as well. So the first one we get, the bugs, and she freaks out, and then, all of a sudden the bandage is back on. Oh, I just imagined it. And then a few moments later, she goes running across the scaffolding stuff, and she falls through, and she's dangling, and then all of a sudden, I didn't fall through that. I'm just sitting here on the scaffolding.
Right.
Okay, so I imagine that. Oh, okay, so I guess this is how Freddy fucks with somebody's mind.
Maybe she's having micronaps before micronaps was a thing.
I don't know. See,
Well,
it's just so confusing.
I felt like maybe part of it is because she even says to him, "I'm not afraid of you." She knows how he operates, knows how he works, and so it's her brain fighting back against it. That these are just optical illusions or hallucinations that he's putting into her brain, and that she realizes this is not really happening, and so she's fighting back.
Right.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah, and so when she decides to fight back, she tells Jesse that she loves him.
Right.
Jesse's dead. He's not here.
Keeps fighting. And she, we're hoping that love ultimately wins at the end of the day.
And so, yeah, we can see that the grip that Freddy has on Jesse is loosening.
Right. And he's starting to back away a little bit. And
Lisa, she gets bolder, and, she goes in, and it looks like that they might kiss.
Now, I have a theory on this.
Of course
Again,
you do.
With my whole dream idea, up to this point, this was all a nightmare. I mean, this is a horror nightmare, and Freddy's loving it because he's feeding off all that fear. The moment she kisses him, kind of turns into an erotic dream, and Freddy's like, I'm not having any of this shit. It's creeping me the fuck out. I'm getting the hell out of here. And that's why he leaves.
Maybe, but I think Freddy would totally be into it. However, I think Freddy Krueger might say, she's a little bit old for me.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, she's a little old.
Right.
And then this is where we see the plant, the power plant. We get all of those fires going across the pipes and the railings, and Freddy starts melting
Like a candle.
like a candle.
Did you notice all the goop on like on the railings and
Yes.
everything that flamed up?
Yes.
All of a sudden there was a bunch of goop.
Yep.
Come on, guys.
Yep.
Come on.
I agree. It's like, well, yeah, okay, that's going to light on. Yep. Yep. All that's lighting. Yep. All that's lighting on fire.
Yeah. And he melts,
And he crumples down, and he's engulfed in flames.
kind of like how he originally died, if you will. And
The fire diminishes, recedes. Eventually, all of the fire stops.
And we're expected to believe, like Lisa kind of gives the impression, Jesse's gone.
right. And she's sad.
Yep. But-
She's leaving.
But like the phoenix,
He comes
Jesse.
back.
rises from the ashes.
This reminded me of Ghostbusters a little bit when Dana or Sigourney Weaver's character comes out of the dog,
Yeah.
Rick Moranis. It looks like he's coming out of a burnt carcass, which I guess he is.
Yep.
But
So he was in there,
and
literally.
he was inside Freddy. Yes. Why are we making these jokes? These need to come from you. This is what we expected all night.
Because I take this movie seriously.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! I don't know why.
It's so juvenile.
Oh, Jesus. And so, yeah, love wins the day. They hug. We cut to.
The next morning.
And this is a scene that cracks me up for all the wrong reasons. Because while they're waiting for that bus, they're having a conversation. And I think it's Carrie that says a line of basically, really great party last night. Freaking how at least 2 people died. There were fire. There was this guy that burst into flames. And that's how seriously you take that party last night? Really great party last night.
Hey, dude, she was being sarcastic.
You-
She meant not a great party.
I know, but even to be sarcastic about something like that, you think there'd be a little more trauma involved in that whole party.
And the fact that nobody's talking about it on the school bus.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
okay, let's get before Jesse gets on the bus, he's got his arms bandaged up, right? And he goes, "Yeah, I'm going back," implying that he's missed some time. And then now she brings up the party. I mean,
Well, this is another thing that just made me think this has got to be a dream because nobody would react that way to such a traumatic party event.
And then Carrie, she ends it with, "It's okay. It's all over." And then bam, shocker.
yeah. Well, this is a dream because this is how we started.
Yep.
Because as
Yep.
we know, Jesse was Lisa's ride to school. So why are they taking the bus?
Yep.
Did you know what the original plan was for the ending?
No.
Lisa was supposed to surprise us and she was going to be possessed by Freddy.
No. Well, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that was a Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
The only thing that partially even saves this movie for me, and it's never been confirmed. I've only ever seen one theory about this on the internet. This is after I thought this up in my own head, was the idea that from the beginning, again, we kind of talked about this throughout the whole discussion of this, is that there were a lot of different dream sequences. And every time we're seeing Freddy use his powers in any way, that's Jesse inside the dream. And then anytime, we see Jesse standing around or wearing the glove and anything, that's him waking up from the dream. Anytime someone's killed, that is Freddy bringing somebody in the dream. And this whole time, he's just using Jesse as a battery to power himself up to be able to bring these people in to kill in his dreams because he's so weak from his fight with Nancy 5 years ago. That's the only thing. If I think of it that way, this movie is somewhat okay, but still the script is horrible. Everything. It's just not a good movie.
I mean, yeah, that's That's a fantastical way of thinking about it. And that is the grass is always greener on the other side way of thinking about it. And I love that about you. I love that you really believe that. But, you know,
Well, unfortunately, I don't. But
when you hear the director, Craven, the writer, everybody who was involved with the production saying, yeah, we fucked up. We brought him into the real world. I mean, what are you going to do?
yeah, they've said it is a possession movie, which says it happened in the real world.
All right. What do you guys think? You guys ready to rate this flick?
I'm ready to rate this flick. John, are you ready to rate this flick?
I'm so scared, Ken. There's a long-winded movie review inside me, and I'm afraid it's trying to get out.
I like that.
I do too.
Hey, Professor, how do we do our ratings?
We do our ratings on a scale of 1 to 5 fucks. 5 fucks is a movie that we think is cinematic gold. A 1 fuck movie is a movie where you get done watching it and you're thinking, I'm never watching that again.
And what's a 0?
A 0 fuck movie is where you get done watching it, you turn to your buddy and you say, oh, for shit's sake, what the hell? Why would you make me go? I want 1 hour and 25 minutes of my life back.
Or in other words, we just don't give a fuck. All right, my pick. I'll go first.
You go first.
Thanks, buddy. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge gets 2 solid fucks. Ironically enough, this is not the worst entry of the series, in my opinion. I think that it has gotten a wee bit better since way back when, but not much. And what really kills this score for me is that they do not include the original theme. Hence, 2 solid fucks from this guy.
Would you like me to go next?
Sure.
But before I do, Don, would you like to predict my rating?
You are going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge, 2.75 fucks.
Is that your final answer?
Wow, you looked at me like, wow, that was really shocking. You are going to give Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, 2.25 fucks.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, fuck, Ken, what do I do?
You do you, boo.
So helpful. 2.25 fucks. 2.25. Final.
There's no denying that Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, is one of the most fucked up entries in the franchise. While Mark Patton rightfully earns his place as horror's first male scream queen, the film itself struggles to capture what made Nightmare on Elm Street so iconic in the first place. Right from the opening title sequence, the movie feels cheap, lacking any real vision or direction. Unlike its predecessor or the later entries, Freddy's Revenge ignores much of the dream logic that defines Freddy Krueger's terror. Instead, it rewrites the rules, bending them to serve a disjointed script that ultimately weakens the film's impact. The infamous gay undertones are well documented. But that aspect really doesn't affect the substance of the movie itself. The real issue lies in the weak writing, which forces the cast, who did their best with what they were given, to work around the plot that lacks coherence or consistency. However, if you rewatch the film under the interpretation that the majority of it is one long nightmare where Freddy is torturing Jesse, feeding on his fear, and pulling others in to continue his torment, then Freddy's Revenge gains some depth. This perspective helps explain its surreal and disjointed nature, making the film slightly more redeemable. Unfortunately, it remains my least favorite Elm Street movie, as it lacks the signature dreamlike horror, inventive kills, and psychological depth that made the franchise so great. It's for those reasons I'm giving Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge, 2 out of 5 fucks.
Oh, you motherfucker. I was off by 0.25.
I tried to give you a look.
And that was your first answer, too.
That was the second answer.
Well,
I said 2.75, and then his look,
Okay.
yeah, his look kind of.
So what I don't
Take me
get
off
is, I think it was even on the first movie, you and I are pretty much the same on our scores when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street movies. We both love the franchise.
We do, but
I thought you would just say-
but you just said this is your least favorite, where
Yeah.
I have so much issue with that, but we're going to get into it.
But
We're going to get into
yeah,
it.
because here's the thing.
I don't know. No, I don't want to know why. You just said that. Okay.
I'm going to say something about you.
Oh, fuck.
The fact that this isn't your least favorite of the movies, I'm really curious what is, but I don't want to know. I want you to save that for future because I want to find out what movie you think is worse than this one.
Oh, you're going to know, and I'm going to tell you.
I would love to guess, but I don't want the answer. So
All right, guess.
I'm not going to.
Guess.
No, because I don't want to.
Guess.
I would guess probably Freddy's dead, but I don't want to know. The 3D one. Okay, before Professor goes, we both have given it a 2. Will the Professor go higher or lower than us?
I think he's going to lower.
I'm predicting lower as well.
Yeah. Over, under? He's going under.
He's going under.
Yeah.
You want to take it a half step further?
Sure.
What's the score?
You are going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge, 1.5 fucks.
I think he's going to give it a 1.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, is a movie that I think that I never would have watched if it weren't for the pod this time around.
You're welcome.
But I don't know if I've actually seen it before or not. And if I had seen it before, it was very forgettable.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie definitely has too little Freddy Krueger. His character, the essence of Freddy Krueger, is awesome. And I think that he is a wonderfully menacing character that we had too little of. The character of Jesse, couldn't care less about him. Lisa, she was passable. I liked her character well enough to say that it was always good when she was on screen. The character of Grady, he was all right too. Coach Snyder, whatever, take him or leave him. The movie, in my opinion, had little suspense, and there was a few little scares that were, psychologically intimidating and unnerving, if you will, but, only passively so. Certainly nothing that is anywhere close to the first. I have this movie pegged pretty much where I thought it was going to be. I went up a quarter, and then I went back down a quarter, finally landing myself at 1.5 fucks.
Bam! 1.5 fucks for the Professor. It's not too bad. With 2 solid fucks from the comic book guy and myself and 1.5 fucks from the Professor, that gives A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, an average of 1.8 fucks, which now ties it in the 35th spot with Evil Dead 2, Friday the 13th, the remake, and Cape Fear. It is slightly better than Blazing Saddles, Moulin Rouge, and Idiocracy, and slightly worse than Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Basketball, Say Anything, and The Big Year. So there you have it, boys.
So there you go.
2 down, 5 to go.
Well, now you've at least gotten this one out of the way. We can get to the best one.
The second best one, yes, absolutely. The second best.
Can we at least agree the next one has the best song in it?
Oh, hands down. Dawkins?
Yeah.
Dream Warriors? Get the fuck out of here. It's my anthem. Love that shit.
It's on my playlist.
Of course it is. It's on mine too. I just listened to it today. No, I didn't, but I was going to. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of 3 Guys in a Flick. If you would like to know which movie we're going to be reviewing next, please check out the website. Speaking of which, John, where can they find us?
They can find us at 3guysinaflick.com, where we go ahead and post all of our show notes. And there's a web form there where you can go ahead and submit a movie you would like us to review next. You can also find us at all of social media and anywhere that hosts podcasts. And in fact, while you're listening to us, go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. You can also leave us in the comments a movie you would like us to review.
All right. I just want to thank myself for picking such a great movie. Thanks, Don. You're welcome, guys. And I want to thank anyone else who listens and who has suggested a movie. If you keep listening, we'll keep recording. For 3 Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm John.
And I'm Ken. Thanks for listening.
Listen to this, fucker.
Ah!
Three guys with some likes, yeah, dive into the flicks. We're here for the real talk, no time for the tricks. Dawn is the captain, steering us right. Kid drops now to shedding light. John with the comics, bringing the hype. From the good, the bad, to the absurd, we break it down, make sure you heard. Passion for the screen, we ride or die about movies. You know, we always give a fuck, no lie.
Come on, you didn't see that coming?
Yeah, I did.
I'll give you something to cover.
Well, it's a good time with this movie.
This is going to be a fun, festive evening, which I'm actually fucking shocked.
I'm glad we all came out for this movie.
Yeah, me too.
And you're
Don't
not going to
deflect
say anything about John having his shirt completely unbuttoned. I mean, why is your shirt completely unbuttoned?
I guess a better question is, where did you get that biker uniform from?
I don't know. I've had it for a while.
Oh, okay.
I think an even better question is, when did you get that piercing, Don?
It goes from both my nipples down to...
It's also the name of a really fucked up piercing.
Starring
Is it really?
Do you not know what that Jacob Ladder is?
Tim Robbins?
That's where you get a number of bars
Oh, going up your scrotum?
all the way up the shaft.
Ooh.
Like 5 or 6 of them all the way up.
Why do you know that?
Because he has it.
It still doesn't even really save the movie.
How many fucks you give it since you just reviewed it?
Oh, that's a good point.
That's not my review,
It should have been.
but it's not.
You got a lot to work with there.
Yeah, thanks.
Even more editing.
Yes. Speaking of editing, it is fucking time.
How many do you have?
One, dude.
Fuck. Do you have any?
I have one.
Should we save his for last because he always wins?
Probably. You said you had a shit ton, right?
I got a shit ton.
What does that mean? How many?
I think I got like 5 or 6.
All right, do 3, and then I'll do mine.
Okay.
Did Julie help you with any of these?
No.
Did AI help you with any of
No,
these?
I actually spent the week trying to come up with these.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It's sketchy,
Okay.
dude.
So the first
He's,
one.
he's like the screenwriter for this movie. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I don't know what to believe with you anymore. Are you even you, or are you fucking AI? Throw something at him to see if he's even fucking here. Like a hologram.
There was no subtext in any of these.
Fire away, tough
First
guy.
one is Nightmare in My Pants 2, Freddy's Rear End.
Yeah.
Naughty Time on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Release.
Oh.
Nightbone on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Rear Entry.
Freddy.
Do you want me to keep going?
No, I have A Nightmare on Cum Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
My next one is A Nightmare on Meat Street 2, Freddy's Footlong. Oh, I'm sorry, Freddy's Footlong Revenge.
Ah.
And then my last one, which I thought was my best one,
Oh, I fucking love it.
Nightmare on Anal Street, Freddy Goes Balls Deep.
Oh, that's pretty good.
2.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Anal Street 2. Freddy goes balls deep. I like that. That's good. That might be the winner. Go ahead.
Now win us over, Professor.
The Night Maid of Elm Street 2. Miss Fredrina. Reverse Cowgirl.
It's a mouthful.
That's a lot of words.
It's a mouthful.
So it's the title of the movie.
All right. May all of your days and nights be filled with happiness. All right. Fuck up. Good night.
Tune in to the thrill, catch the vibe. As 3 guys in a flick, keep the passion alive. Fuck that night.